Hi, my name is Adrian Zeni, and today I will be presenting about income and its impact on happiness and well-being. In an interview with John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men to ever live, was asked, "How much money does it take to make a man happy?" In which he replied, "Just one more dollar." It is a common belief that having just a little bit more money would make one happy or content, yet it never seems to be enough. But how much is actually enough? This leads to my question: to what extent does income actually affect happiness and well-being? One specific stimulus source assumes this question, namely high income improves evaluation of life but not emotional well-being. Authored by Daniel Kahneman and Angus Deaton. They are both professors at the University of California, Berkeley, and Princeton University, respectively. In this article, they explain how happiness peaks at a yearly income of around $75,000 per year, and that satisfaction of life can drop even though more money is being earned annually. Other factors can drop as well, such as personal life evaluation. Even though it is a common belief that more money equates to a happier life and better lifestyle, studies have shown that an increase in monetary yearly income can actually have the opposite effects on emotional well-being and personal life evaluation. In this graph, annual income is shown against some different happiness test results. For example, the stress-free curve shows general reduction in stress, but the not blue curve shows reduction in worriness and sadness, and the positive effect curve shows general life enjoyment, the latter being a mean of these. This graph shows us one important point, that being these different points on the graph. Each shows a point at which growth slows or sometimes takes an opposite direction. For example, under the stress-free line, this point is at around $75,000 per year, and is when the line stops growing and actually begins to go downwards, indicating that an increase in income above this level also correlates to an increase in amount of stress experienced. In addition to this, an experiment by a team consisting of multiple different researchers at various different institutes across Europe, led by the professor at the University of Liège, Jordi Quaybach, tested the participants' ability to savor chocolate bars, and afterwards asked them to take a survey which compared their responses about enjoyment of the chocolate bar to their wealth. Notably, wealthier individuals spent less time eating the chocolate and seemed to rush through it. These individuals generally responded less favorably in the survey after eating the chocolate. On the other hand, the less wealthy individuals spent more time eating the chocolate and, in the same surveys after eating, responded more favorably to the questions and seemed to be happier, even when income was mentioned. Well, what about other regions around the world? Oliver M. Tapori, a professor at Howard College's School of Developmental Studies, did similar research in Zimbabwe. He found that citizens lacking proper farming implements and areas for livestock cultivation are also often scavenging for food, have poor husband-wife relations, live in unfurnished dwellings, and lack other necessities of life. These lower-income individuals were found to deal with less struggles than someone with a higher yearly income who had access to farming implements, cattle, decent housing, furniture, and excess clothing, just as some examples. However, some of these struggles, such as dealing with theft more often and higher stress levels, showed how some of the wealthier envied the poor. Time spent with others can also affect happiness. According to the Gallup Healthways Happiness Stress Index, as the amount of time spent with other people went up, the daily enjoyment and happiness also went up, along with a decrease in stress and worry. On the opposite end of the spectrum, happiness and enjoyment were almost equal with stress and worry when participants spent 0 hours per day socializing with other people. In addition to wealth, time spent with other people is very important and can have a big impact on happiness. After all this data, this brings us to an important question and counterargument. Why would anyone want to work to earn a higher income if lower incomes can make a person even happier? According to the stimulus source, happiness didn't necessarily cap at $75,000 per year. Happiness still grew after the $75,000 mark, just at a slower rate when compared to incomes below $75,000 per year. While income is important in respect to happiness, it isn't the focus of life. And a quote by Paul Songas, "No one on their deathbed ever said, 'I wish I had spent more time at the office,' saying that balancing life between work and home is very important." Furthermore, Doug Short, an author at Advisor Perspectives, referenced a happiness index based on region relative to the $75,000 figure sourced by Kahneman and Deaton. He found that smaller, less expensive states to live in actually had a higher happiness rating than states with higher costs to live in. Although there are many factors that affect happiness and emotional well-being, it is more important to focus on people and things that one would care about, like friends, families, and hobbies, rather than always worrying about what will be on your next paycheck. Thank you.